supplementation began: the problem of absorption. So many of today's supplements are less effective due to their inability to be absorbed naturally by the body. Using our own proprietary hydrostat nano delivery breakthrough, we reduce the particle size of critical nutrients smaller than ever before, allowing them to absorb in your mouth while swishing for 30 seconds or more. Glutathione is your body's master antioxidant. It's responsible for boosting your energy, detoxifying cells, reducing inflammation, and boosting the immune system. If glutathione is so amazing, why have you never heard of it? Because glutathione is extremely fragile, and if taken orally, it will be destroyed via the digestive process, rendering it virtually useless to the body. Until now, NutraSwish applies nanotechnology to achieve maximum absorption. Now, glutathione and other nutrients can be absorbed simply and quickly by swishing in the mouth instead of being destroyed in the stomach. Using this same nanotechnology, we've created the ultimate skincare product, Numi Skin. We've been able to achieve unparalleled absorption for key ingredients, including collagen, hyaluronic acid, and more. Some of the top skin experts in the world work together to create the ultimate blend of skin-enhancing nanonutrients, creating the most amazing before and after results. With our nano solution, you no longer have to wait months to experience the effects of skincare and supplementation. Our customers are noticing a difference within a matter of days. Don't wait to look, feel, and live your best life. A new you starts with Numi.
Hi, welcome back to another Dr. Shante video. This video is basically sharing what I do for general health maintenance. Well, in addition to just eating healthy, I take supplements. I take them habitually. The first supplement on the list is a multivitamin. A good multivitamin from A to zinc. That is what I take. I take it in the form of a hair, skin, and nail vitamin, but a multivitamin is suffice. The next thing is I take omega-3. I don't do the fish oil cap. I do this in a liquid because this is one of the 3 macronutrients that we need, right? We need carbohydrates, proteins, fatty acids. Okay, that's how I do that. In addition to taking a probiotic, I take prebiotics. I may take the prebiotics more frequently than the probiotics, and I can go over later the why to that. And I also take digestive enzymes. Those are the main things I take. Additional supplements that I take a superfood powder, and I have this much of water inside of the bottle before I put like 1 or 2 teaspoons of that powder in there. I'll make a separate video talking about it because it has so much benefit, but this is also something that I use on a daily basis. The definition of a holistic view is that all aspects of people's needs, psychological, physical, and social, should be taken into account and seen as a whole. Holistic relationships is leading the charge and sparking real conversations that transcend the ordinary, aiming not only to explore life's intricate facets, but also to inspire positive change and cultivate better approaches to every topic we touch. In the realm of love and relationships, marriage and divorce, parenting struggles and single parenting triumphs, toxic relationships, and the liberating journey out of codependence, our goal is crystal clear. We are architects of change, crafting blueprints for better, more holistic relationships that stand the test of time. This isn't just a show or podcast. It is a movement. Each show is an invitation to recalibrate one's perspective, to rethink conventional norms, and to embark on a journey towards a more fulfilling life. From the nuanced dance of co-parenting to the empowering pursuit of self-confidence, we are here to guide you towards positive transformation, empowerment of self and others, setting goals, building legacies, and collecting fortune with purpose. Holistic relationships is more than a show, it's a philosophy. We navigate the complex terrain of aging gracefully and achieving optimal health and weight loss, shedding light on compatibility in relationships and imparting wisdom on the art of dating and courtship. Join us as we forge a community committed to positive change, where every conversation is a catalyst for growth, every revelation is a step towards understanding, and every piece of advice is a key to unlocking a more holistic and fulfilling life. Welcome to Holistic Relationships, where the pursuit of better, more meaningful connections begin, and positive change is not just encouraged, but celebrated. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another Holistic Relationships show. Today's topic is about having children, naming children. That's what we're talking about today. I got to thinking about surnames, children's last names. When it comes to your children, when you have children and the children's last names and what they should be, things like that. I get it why we do it, why we name them after the dads. And I was explaining to a young lady about how my mother gave me her last name. I didn't get my dad's last name. I got my mom's last name. And my father has this huge family, with the same last names, just full of people with the same last names. That small little thing, because we're a family by blood, but I had never felt like one of them because I didn't have the surname. I may have lingered and gravitated more towards my mother's side of the family. We all had the same last name. But the things about it, when it comes to the women in the family, when we marry, we can take on the last names of our husbands. And I guess when I got married, I went on and changed it because I didn't have any siblings where we shared the same name. I didn't have the desire to hyphenate. I just didn't. I just decided I'm going to take on the surname so that I'll have the same name with my children, with the husband that I chose. And now, of course, life has moved in other directions. Nothing like I had planned, but I do have a child now with the name of the marriage. So I keep the surname for him because I'm not remarried at this point in time. And if I ever were to remarry, then I would probably do the same thing and take on the name of my husband. So right now, I keep the name for my son so that we are connected, so that he feels connected to someone. Because short of the relationship with the father, that may be non-existent for the rest of his life. Who knows? But anyway, but at least he'll have the connection name with his brother. When his brother was born, when his brother came along with the same last name, I went, oh, okay, now he has a sibling out there that has the name. I felt a little joy for my baby boy because I'm like, he's not alone. He's not alone anymore. He has someone that has, so it's a little bittersweet considering changing her son's name, but I completely understand. And now I'm like, he's by himself again. With just that lineage to me and the biological dad's name, it was just non-existent in his life and got other issues like that. But anyway, so, I said to that mom, one of the things that she definitely, and it's completely just her choice, and I understand why she wants to do it. I said to her that because she's young and she can have as many babies as she wants moving forward, she has the opportunity to get them all the same surname if they were to take on her last name or whatever plans she has for the future. And that may have been both of our fates anyway. Our children would not have the same name because it didn't work out with me. So where I want to go from there. Oh, and another thing I was going to say, even though my mother had another child, she gave that child, my little sister, the father's last name. And I look at how they all feel about that last name, how tightly knit they are on that side from having that same last name. See, rather it's conscious or not to us when it comes to that, we do feel connected in the surnames, the family. And for people who haven't had children, young people growing up, please think about it. Keep that in mind. Try to have children within a family construct so that your names live. So there are not all these different things inside of the same households and to have siblings not feeling fully connected to each other because they only share one parent. They don't share both parents. And they may or may not have the same. So my life, I am not connected through surname to any of my siblings. Now, my youngest two brothers share the same name as my father. They also share the same first name too. One's just a junior and then the other one is just another middle name. But there's a connection there in surname and none of us. So Mom, when you're having children, please think about this. Think about this. Take a moment and think about the family structure. How do you see this family structure working out? Because see, I didn't have children until I was married. So this little weird twist of fate for me is just a little bit different. But there are so many of us in the world that's just out here having babies, having children with people. And then when it comes to naming these children, then you got one with this man, you got one with this man, you may have all these different children's fathers, And then you have all these different names of the children, and they only share you as a mother, but which may not be realized, but their bond and their siblinghood, if we want to create that word or not, stems a little bit from having that last name. Believe it or not, I think there's some time to that. And unless you are an only child, I mean, that is it. But if you are having multiples out here and you're not married to men, then give them your last name so that they're gifted. They'll know they have different dads. But if you're raising them and you're all in the same household, just give them yours. But yes, you know that. And sometimes we do it. Is the reason to do it because you know men have the ability to just have multiple children with different women, and those women may make the choice to give the surname of the fathers to those children. So you give them the surname of the dad because of him being able to go out and spread his seeds and do this again and again and again and again if he so chooses to. And then now, in doing that, you can get to connect them. They'll be like, oh, I know them, you know. Now questions can be asked. I have a brother. We're very close in age. My mother used to say, because his family went estranged at the time, my dad, I don't want to put these words in his mouth because he's no longer here to really tell anybody his reasons or thoughts. So all of this is speculation. But there was always a question of paternity to begin with. And I'll just keep it very politically correct there. It was a question of paternity. And also that mom went estranged, but she wasn't necessarily connected to the family. And he was just out there. And my mother used to always say, you're growing up, you got a brother out there. You get around and starting and dating and stuff, ask questions, ask them about their past, their father. Let me tell you what his mother's name is, just to know, so you ain't over here dating your brother or you done ran across somebody that you're related to. And that's the thing about when men going around spreading seed like that, you run up on somebody and not realize you're related. So these things, when it comes to surnames and family trees, you know, establishing that so that children know where they come from, because they come from two places. And regardless if we like that second place they come from, and this is applicable to men and women alike, regardless if we like that or not, that is the truth. It is what it is. That's where they come from. And so I think that in this whole thing of when you're deciding to have children, come on, women, you control that more than you realize or have accepted. And it starts with a little education about reproduction, the menstrual cycle, the ovulation cycle. A little bit of education, you get to control that so that you're not stuck with a child with someone that you really should be having a child with. That should be considered. And I may make that a separate holistic relationship topic. So I may have to split this. So another topic for holistic relationships, women having control over having babies. That could be another topic. And this could be said, and I'm thinking, if I have the control of whether or not I get pregnant or whether or not I have the child, if that child gets here, then that was a conscious decision. And this isn't to stay and resolve men from responsibility. Strap up. Don't just be out here shooting up. There's a responsibility on your part too. But even of the most responsible of those who strap up, who have birth control, there's still a 3% chance that something can slip through. Sometimes the condoms can get punctures and It may even be the men that puncture it, because there are men out here that will trap the women. They want to be connected to that woman. They want that woman to have their kids. And people choose for reasons of vanity. All kinds of reasons why they're like, I want a baby with this person. And that is something for men and women alike. Where everybody's capable of doing it. And it's not just a woman that is doing it. But if she's asking you to shoot up and all that other stuff, your little spidey senses should be getting in, a light bulb should come on. Because because if you're really thinking about this, really consider, that's not just something that's telling you that if it happens, she wants that to happen, and or no, she just wants that to happen. She go with it. There it is. And we'll try to get that to happen. And if you're okay with it, then you just go on for broke. Go on, shoot up. Go on, do it. But you do have control of whether or not you bring children into toxic and broken situations. It's because it's difficult. Raising them day to day, grind with children. It's exhausting. Everybody trying to make it seem like, oh, it's having children. It's so beautiful. Yes, beautiful, but the shit is exhausting. It's exhausting. It's draining. They are parasites on you from the moment of conception. And people may not like me saying that, but I'm gonna say it because I've been pregnant 5 times. What do we know about the definition of a parasite? Something that is living off of the host and only lives if the host lives. Isn't that carrying a baby is? Something sucking off all your resources, your nutrients and everything. And if you don't get enough of it, it will take it from you. And you'll take your nutrients, you'll be deficient and depleted in things. And then they're coming up with all these pregnancy ailments and illnesses that come along because that baby is going to survive. It's trying to survive it. It will take from you. And the thing is, the only time it really terminates, and this is just my medical and spiritual opinion combined, is that for survival, preservation of the host. If the body isn't able to handle, it's too much stress going on, and it's something like a baby is there, and you're not strong enough, and since anything detecting that you may not survive, it will release it. It will terminate your pregnancy for yours. And as much as it hurts a mother to learn that you got a baby coming or that you conceived, and then if you get weakened in any way and you still try to do it, sometimes it will terminate for you. Sometimes the blood and the genes aren't compatible. It terminates for you. They call it spontaneous abortions. Okay. These are things to be considered, especially when your blood isn't compatible. No matter how much you like this person, you're just not compatible. You're not supposed to be. But women, ladies, you have the choice. You have the ability here. You have the choice. You have the ability to control new life coming into this. And you should be choosing wisely. If you cannot have that family structure with that man, why do it? If he says to you that he doesn't want that with you, first determine or learning that you are pregnant, you got to be prepared to do that alone, or conversations like that should be had before it happens. Because you're young and you're not established and you're not making enough money to support you and a child, and that happens to you, you are going to struggle. Because from the moment that baby is born, it is attached to you. I remember we were getting ready to leave the hospital. A friend of mine, she picked us up from the hospital. And the lady, she helped us get home, our friend. And she took us home. And as I'm getting ready to go, mind you, I've been just used to moving myself. I'm not used to moving anybody else. So when I had to take that baby home, my son home with me, life for the two of us began, and I just got to figure it out because I'm going through a divorce. I'm already separated from my husband, or we're going through active divorce, and I'm looking at this little baby like, oh, I'm getting discharged from the hospital, but I have to take you with me. Not saying I was thinking of leaving him, but that's the reality check. And when you've never had any kids and you've only had to think about yourself, you're like, oh, I can't move without you, huh? And to move with them is exhausting. It is draining. And as months to come after that, maybe, and you're by yourself as a single parent, and you're going to listen, I am giving you the real deal here. But I wouldn't change a thing. But I was much older. So I was about I was 34 when I had my son. And I might have been going through, it's interesting. I might as well have had him if I was in my 20s. If the first few years when he was kind of a struggle, I was thinking, well, shit, I probably should have had him back when. But anyway, my husband and ex-husband, that jigaboo. But anyway, I'm saying, young people, you got to think about this. Sometimes you're a victim of circumstance. Someone raped you and you weren't able to you got pregnant by the raper and you weren't able to terminate the pregnancy, or you had to have the baby. I think in those instances, you should really consider adoption, because do you want to be a toxic parent? And what I mean by that is, I don't want this to come and go the wrong way. I'm trying to think about what your treatment is going to be of said child. And that's another holistic relationship topic. Because when you're thinking, okay, I want to finish about women being in control. And first things first, learn about the cycle, the menstrual cycle. How does that work? Ovulation, so that you can avoid having sex, especially unprotected sex during those periods of time, so that you don't have to worry about, oops. Okay, you need ovulation to happen to get pregnant, okay? And there are fluke situations all the time. If you don't want to do birth control, there's a natural way of birth control. I've been doing it for years. It works. It's about counting those days, knowing your body, knowing when your cycle is coming, and abstaining from sex when you know you could possibly be ovulating. There's a window of time. So you got some days to know that any one of these days, an egg can be released. But see, here's the thing. It's also knowing the physiology of sperm, because sperm can live anywhere between 3 to 5 days. You can have unprotected sex 2 to 3 days before you ovulate. That sperm is alive. It can still penetrate and fertilize an egg. But just because it does that, because there's so many people who are just trying, just because it does that, pregnancy is implementation into the uterine wall. That fertilized egg implanted on the uterine wall. And then the connections and blood vessels and things began. That's pregnancy. Now HCG is going to be detected in a urinalysis or in a urine test, because now a fertilized egg could still be expunged. It could still get out of the body during the menstrual cycle if it does not implant. So that's just a little bit of anatomy and physiology. So knowing that and being more aware of that and learning that, hey, Don't just having no kids until you know that person's going to be there for you with that child. And then there's still no way of knowing. It's not foolproof, but don't do it knowing that you're not going to be the family. Now that you should have that conversation. It should never be oopsie daisy. And even if you're on birth control and then you decide I'm not going to do the natural birth control way and I'm going to take birth control, and you're utilizing that method, I'm going to do that. Still no, there are loopholes through that. Plan B is not birth control. It's just emergency contraception. And you have to use it within a certain window, a 72-hour window from what I remember, for it to be effective, to make sure that that uterine wall is impermeable to unfertilized eggs. There's a lot of Plan B babies walking around here. Okay, I got a friend that has Plan B baby. I remember the phone call. It's just like it was yesterday, but it always made me weary about Plan B. So you just have to be more responsible, ladies. I'm not saying that the men shouldn't be responsible men or that they're not responsible, because there are responsible men, and statistics show that there are more childless men than there are women. And you just have these men that's just going around knocking up everybody because the system will take care of them. So they have skewed viewpoints about have a skewed viewpoint about figuring, the woman, this is the woman I chose. This system will help her. Oh, she got this. I mean, you just never know what people are over here thinking. And I know I said thinking. You just don't know what they're thinking. You just don't know. So whatever twisted viewpoint the person have or may have to the reason as to why, I'm going to get this person pregnant. Really? It's just, So ladies, it's not going to get you love to get pregnant, but that baby is a source of unconditional love. But let me tell you, you're human and you're going to be sleep deprived for at least the first 5 years of life. You'll be a cranky lady. I was a cranky woman because I was used to my beauty rest. And when my son was born, I breastfed. Now I got this baby feeding off of me all day. At least for the first 2 years afterwards. And then I know there's a lot of people that may not be able to do the 6 weeks of breastfeeding, but I think that's more tied to diet, lifestyle, stress, mindset, that sort of thing. They're not prepping themselves properly and they may not have enough information when it comes to breastfeeding. But anyway, I breastfed and I would have been able to get to the 2 years because I was going to go to 2 years and stop, because that's really the longest you really need milk as you don't need milk as an adult. And if you're going to drink milk of your own species. Come on, let's make this make sense, people. Don't drink milk of another species. Ew. Why would you do that? And I know that we have, but we've been programmed to do something. But then wondering why everybody got all this inflammation in their body, riddled with cancer. But anyway, human breast milk for human babies, because they're not giving human breast milk to other animals. I tell you that. They got enough sense not to do that. They are not doing that in the wild. So you want to be able to do that. And depending on that pregnancy, 9 or 10 months, depending on how long you're carrying or if you make it to term, you have something on your body causing pain, and then you have the baby. You got the pain during labor, and don't let them have to cut you open to get the baby out. You got the pain from that and rehabilitation and learning to walk upright again from the C-section, And then you have something feeding off of you 24/7. And you still have to produce what you need to produce. You got to produce that milk. And most people, they're feeding off of you at any given time of day or night. And they don't really know how to communicate. So their only form of communication is crying. there it is. They haven't learned how to talk. So the only way they can communicate is to cry. And it can be irritating to have something in your once quiet home and place of zen, peace, and tranquility screaming. Possibly screaming all the time. And then after that, there's peeing and pooping all over your stuff, tearing up your beautiful home. My homes were immaculate, but even in this place here, I had a few more emotional things going on. I never quite back to that level of where it was. And it took a long time to get to some level of organization, and because there were so many moving parts to getting my life together, and I was tired all the time, exhausted, and I couldn't do everything and take everything because I was nursing, especially if I wanted some wine, because it's going to pass through the breast milk. So things I would have done for me, I didn't necessarily do everything like a detox or something like that, because of my son and nursing and being concerned about him being exposed to things. So I even had to wait to do a detox program, because you're detoxifying, so you're expunging. Things get expunged through the breast milk too. So I had to wait on that. So that sleep deprivation is real, because just when you think you're getting a rhythm, here comes a new phase in this baby life and growth and development. A new phase comes. Oh, shoots. You had a little rhythm going, and now you got to readjust. And these are the days of 30, 40 years ago. Women were at home. Ladies, what were you doing? We trying to go to work, have career, BCLs, do all this other shit. But I was at home with my son. But I was also in the life of an entrepreneur. And I did so. I made that choice so that I could be present in those formative years with my child. I made that decision to do that. But some of you don't have the luxury to make that choice to work from home. Some of you don't have that. I was able to do that, where I was able to earn money and make money and take care of this child. So some of you are going through these changes, and you're going through all of this while trying to keep the roof over your head, while trying to get bills paid, while trying to keep you and your child or children fed. And I had some real hard times too, but for the most part, I was in a position to be able to take care of me and my son. We made it through. But I'm also a double doctor, and I got all this other stuff going on with the earning potential that can do it. So even though I had a taste of the world where it could be real bad, I knew that I wasn't completely of that world necessarily. I was just going through a moment, and that I would be able to do this. I was blessed in that sense. I never sought out, I never sought out to do it alone. And I wouldn't suggest anyone do it alone. Even if you know you can or think you can, that's still a dumbass decision. Excuse my French, sorry. It's just dumb. Why would you do that by yourself? Why? To raise another human, to keep another human being safe, plus you by yourself, something happened to you, you break a leg, something happened to you, what's going to happen to that child? Would you think you got mama, daddy, aunties, grandma, big family? Guess what? People die. That's what happened. I had all these people around me at first, and like for the family structure. Go for the one who wants you. Love the one who loves you. Don't look at them as no simp or nothing like that. Look at them as value, as an asset. At the end of the day, you want someone who's going to look out for you and that child. It's a cruel world out here. This is real. And people are doing it, but you don't know where their psyche is, where their mental is. You may see them out here, but are they happy out here being a single parent? Because I tell you, I would much rather, because I'm telling you, with kids, going to the corner store is a real decision that you got to contemplate and debate over. Because see, when you just you could just go to the store. But think about doing it when you got to pack up a child. You got to pack up extra clothes, extra wipes, extra food, extra this. You got to bundle them up, get them in the stroller, get them into the car seat, connect all that stuff in the car, button them in, drive to the store. The mental and physical exhaustion that it's going to take you to get you to said destination. Get out the car, secure them into stroller, go into the store, go into your shopping. You go back to the car now that you have extra stuff. You have more than what you left out the house with. Okay? Get in a car, drive yourself home, get outside. Do you know how much energy it requires and the exhaustion it is? Going to the store becomes a whole ass decision that you got to debate in your mind, because you're like, do I really want to do this? So what would it look like if you were able to do that and you were able to leave a baby with the other parent and go handle that business and then come on back, cook the meal for the whole family? You want your children to be with someone safe, and don't leave your kids with everybody, whether they family or not. You got to keep them safe. And I'm not saying or accusing people. I mean, you just got to think about what you just have to be careful when you keep your kids with, And I understand a lot of times we don't have a choice. Some people don't. So ladies, please don't just be out here having kids. Think about it. Because now you're bringing children in this world that have traumatic experiences possibly, and they'll take that well on into their adulthood. And we all know what that looks like. Having to date an adult that got trauma from their childhood, mama issues, daddy issues because their parents effed up. But here's the thing. There's no guidebook or rule book to parenting. I mean, there are books out there on parenting, but the saying means you don't know what you don't know. Every family dynamic and structure is different. And you really are just making this up as you go. You got to make the best decisions that you can with the information that you have at that time. You're trying to keep your kids safe, mentally, emotionally, and physically. So what about those parents that can't handle it? They're stressed out. Now you're verbally abusing and mentally abusing a child that didn't ask to be here. No child asked to be here. So my parenting style with my son, I'm very careful and not blowing up and just blowing a gasket or anything like that. I remember with my mom, she had a temper, Greta. She had selective memory now. She may not necessarily remember some of the things, and my sister might still be a little traumatized with her. But me, I've rationalized things. I put it in a place where, okay, I understand what that was about. I have a different level of understanding because I was able to go to school. I took psychology. I learned about behavior and some things like that. So I'm a little bit more well-versed when it comes to those things. And I kind of have a level of understanding so now. And so sometimes with the stress can make you just blow up and you say some things, forget you said it, but the impact is lasting. And then the thing when it comes to our parents and remembering what our parents did, they're only doing what their parents did. So where we break that cycle. So ladies, we have a choice of bringing them into this world. You don't have to. My mother used to always tell me, leave them where they at. Enjoy your life and leave them where they at until you're ready. Okay? And just wait until you're ready, Even if you're lonely and all that other stuff, you feel you're lonely, okay, get a dog. Get a pet. And you may be thinking, but they mess up the house and they do this and that. And what do you think a little human is going to do? They don't know nothing. They just got here to the world. They about there for the pee, poop, and mess up your health and throw fool all over it. Yeah, they will. Trying to tell you, I have a friend that told me, he said, because he was a little germaphobe, he have a clean house, immaculate. It's the love going to his house, clean. He told me about when he had his son, and he was a single dad. He was like, I started cleaning at night. I had to wait till that little nigga went to sleep, and I would clean at night. He's like, and then I would have a few minutes and there moments where he said when he went to sleep, that helped his mental, that helped his psyche. He would clean it up, and he said, I had a moment to gaze over my home clean, the way that I once remembered. Even though he knew the next day, he said that little motherfucker be up and tear all this up again. But at least I had a couple of hours while he was asleep to see my place the way I once remembered it. And I recommend that for you. Don't be like me with the OCD where I'm constantly trying to clean as he moves because I'm trying to, I had to get the little gates and things. So we're going to have to contain this mess. But again, it's just so much. It's so much. It is. It is so much. But it's a beautiful, beautiful experience. And again, it's gratifying. All right. But women, learn them cycles. Have the conversations with the man. Okay. All right. Don't just be trying to get people, caught up, you know what you're doing. The elders used to say, what you do or what you doing has been done before. Okay. We know what you're doing. Don't be so quick to, what am I saying? Don't be having kids thinking you finna get this man's love or get his attention or get his fidelity or get his money or get his last name. And all. No, don't do that. Don't do that to yourself. You should know going forward. It should be intentional, ideally. But trust me, because you have to think about the sacrifice you're really going to be making. Just don't do it alone. Let this be a journey where you and someone else do it together. And if you're having a toxic relationship without children, get out of it, because with children, it's going to get worse. And then you're going to bring in another life into that nonsense. Don't do it. Make sure you got a good relationship with a person, a partner, where you're co-parenting with, if that's going to be your choice. Sometimes it's a co-parenting situation. And there are a lot of people that, my parents co-parented. They co-parented very well. They were friends. And I grew up in a balanced way. And I like to think I turned out all right with both of them. But they worked together. They didn't work against each other. They didn't counter-parent. Okay? So ladies, you have the power to think about that. To not just run out and have children. You have that ability. Just think before you do it. Prevent it if you can. So in a case of the person who got raped, you couldn't afford to get an abortion. You found out too late. You live somewhere where abortions are illegal. You don't have any money to get across the state border where it's not illegal. You had to have that baby. You went through the pregnancy. This is where adoption comes into play. If you can't do it, don't bring them into a world to have a crappy life and to struggle. Because the trauma of your rape, think about it. How are you going to look at that child? How are you going to treat them? What happens when they ask questions about their father. Every child wants to know where they come from, and they all ask. And they all ask why you're not together. It's a general to everybody. Every child asks that question, for the most part. Every child wants to see their parents together. They like that. Think about when you were a child. And sometimes it may be hard to get back to that deep level, that innocence of ourselves, because some of us were forced to grow up a lot faster than others. So you may have to dig back a little deeper, a little further to find that innocence, to find that place where you're like, yeah, I did want my parents to be together or get back together. We had to learn and we had to accept that that wasn't going to happen. It's not what it is. And yeah, that's what happened. But you get to choose. When you have a baby with someone and you may not like them, but this was consensual and it's in their conception, and you're like, oh, I can't. That is the other side. So we take that chance. That's the chances that we have to take. Especially in co-parenting. That's what it is. Oh, goodness. I could go on and on for this, But I'm going to call it there because this is such a heavy, heavy topic. And I know I've said it already, but I'm going to keep saying it. Make sure you just stop for a moment and just really think this out and what life really is going to be like. Being a parent is wonderful. I absolutely love being a parent. I actually still want to have another child. And that's only because I have a small one. It's not like teenagers or something that's, and then this isn't to say that some families don't have that, where they have grown children and then they have little babies and stuff, that happens. We see that as well. But again, I definitely welcome commentary, the different perspectives when it comes to this. Because again, holistic relationships, this platform, this is here to be a ministry to all of us, to help give us some other perspectives and viewpoints, and we could walk out with better relationships, better outcomes, better outlooks, calibrating our own perspectives and just being better, growing, and that we're leaving something behind for the people, the generations behind us to have. That's the point of having these conversations, so that we can have better relationships with people. And that's what I thank everybody, as always. I thank you for your support to the platform, your engagement. Thank you for following. Thank you for subscribing, liking, and sharing the content. It's just wonderful. I thank you guys for that. And please keep it coming. The ideas and the different topics that are coming up, some from what you all might suggest and may say, hey, maybe you would consider this. And so I'm always looking for that engagement and participation and those opinions, because, hey, we got to keep building on these conversations. So again, I thank you all for coming to this Holistic Relationship Show. I will see you all in the next Holistic Relationship Show. And until next time,